My life.
A miracle of two at once.
Miracle of. Fucking better be! That's gonna be great. We're gonna do some Alan. It's Halloween. Happy Halloween. And then we're gonna do some Ascension later, and that's gonna be cool and great and awesome.
Happy Halloween, Keshmed Halloween biscuits.
Dave, you help.
And I ate lots of them. I had 2 of them.
You've had 2 of them, that's not lots.
Yeah, but you've had 0, so.
Yeah, but I've been doing it. I'll have
Yeah,
some.
I'll tell you what you've not been doing.
I'll have some,
It's
don't
eating
worry.
biscuits.
Goodness gracious. Weird. Very funny to me. What was I doing? Looking for Alice. We're going to the Parliament Tower.
Oh, we did the subway and we looked around, and then we decided to check the man who couldn't do anything.
Yeah, and he wasn't. But there was a container around here though. Down there?
Nope.
Oh. Container over here.
Ah! Hey, never mind, it had a thing in it.
Well, what are you doing? Getting stuck on stuff. Agree.
Yeah. Old world event. Yeah, we played a little bit of Control to get a refresher.
You
on some of the
remembered
things.
about the oops.
Remembered about Oops and All.
Going buck wild in my ear.
Yeah. Loud.
Horrible. Why can't they just chill out?
Doing ghost stuff.
You need to stop.
I know.
I hate it. It's fine now. Oh. There's found the tower.
Okay, that looks like something. Stands out, it's eye catching.
Found what we were looking for. Nobody worry, we're on our way. Oh look, the dark place. It's opening soon.
Dodgy.
It's a photography and videography exhibition by Alice Waite. She needs to leave.
Like, yeah, there, Alan's me.
He was a victim. The writer. Maybe he was a victim. The cult, using his words. Or maybe he was the monster behind it all. Either way, Alice Wake, his ex, she knew things. It was there in her art for all to see.
It's always in the
A
wire.
cry for help. The darkness she'd witnessed. And that put her in danger.
Was Alice here?
Far
In
away.
the story?
I want to go too close because I want to trap you in.
No, come closer. Fine. I can always push you out of the way.
That's. I am very small.
Just pick you up, put you elsewhere.
Yeah,
Don't
like
worry
you do with the cat.
Yeah. And then you open? Nope, that one open. Where is the ringing coming from, though? Is there? There's a phone out here. A phone out here. Where?
The payphone at the edge of the plaza was ringing again.
I am trying to answer it, but it was just kind of making noise.
Hey, Alan. Thank God it picked up. I thought I lost you again.
Who are you? Why are you helping me?
Did you go deeper? To the overlap?
Are you talking about the murder site? Yeah, I did. I...
That's fantastic, Alan. We're closer to getting out. We're making progress.
I mean, that's Evil Alan,
We
right?
would be if you would
Mr.
answer my
Scratch.
damn
That's
questions.
Mr. Scratch. It's Evil
When
Alan.
we spoke, you were pretty worried about Alice. Did you ever
It's him
check
putting on a
Parliament
voice.
Tower? Make sure she really got
She's
out at the
evil
dark
now.
place.
Well, of course she got out. That's why I'm here. That's the whole goddamn point.
Be very careful, Alan. The dark presence is stealing from you. It can already manifest as your double. Scratch will come.
Wait, hello?
I'm not going to answer that. Not put your stuff away, Alan. Here's the thing, buddy. We need that app.
He has got drastically less powerful since the first game where he was. The first game you are very like fragile, as if you get your dodge timing wrong, it can just be over. You can get like stun locked to death off last hit. Stupid guys. You're also incredibly destructive though.
Alice's photo
Shit
equipment
away again.
set to go off when the door opens.
Alice, that's rude. You're gonna give somebody a seizure? I don't do that.
Get out! Leave me alone!
Alice!
This is your family.
Alice!
Yeah. Hello?
Alice,
Take photos for exhibition posters.
this is a photo of Scratch. How did Alice get this? Is he stalking her?
Well, I mean, it would seem that she's stalking him in that case. She has a photo of him. You know.
Oh, it's just like right up front.
This is the door to my
facing
study,
the camera.
where I wrote my
Looks
books.
like a consensual photo.
This symbol wasn't here
Right.
before.
That symbol was on one of the doors to the control.
Alice's video camera.
In the ocean view.
No memory card inside.
I keep try and make note of those. Like apparently I didn't succeed, but
One of them was a little girl. I'm sure Alice screaming was nothing huge, so you know.
yeah.
Video art doc on screens. Molt. Focal point in the dark place. Of the dark place, excuse me.
Thought this was going to be the same apartment from the first game, by the way. It's absolutely
very
not.
much not.
Yeah, it's huge.
Part 1. What was Alice working on?
Yes, the card is for part 1. It's fine, Alan. Don't worry about it. You can play it on here. Let's go.
When I was younger, photography was everything to me. I moved to New York thinking I'd make it as an artist. And then I met Alan.
Step
We had
number
a
1
good
of
thing.
becoming an artist. Never move to New
We
York.
were both dedicated by our creative ambitions. The only difference was that Alan's work
Step
made
2,
money.
never meet Alan.
Right?
He brought me work when he could.
He is a bad man. Do not
I
trust
took
him.
his promo shots. Created covers for his books. I'm sure he forced his publisher into it. I was taking photos, just not my photos. And that gnawed at me. Things got complicated sometimes, but that's life, right? We loved each other.
It's extremely not shocking that Alan would kind of
Then
want her to put her life on hold,
Alan hit a block.
so she could be his muse.
Hmm?
I brought out a meaner side of him. One I didn't like. I set up a trip to see a doctor in Washington. I didn't tell him until we got there. We argued. Things went wrong. And he was just gone. Drowned, allegedly.
Alice, it's fine. He wrote himself out of existence.
About
Like,
6 years ago, I started hearing noises in the night. Typewriter keys clacking. Voices.
It's the PTSD.
yeah.
Alan was back. Haunting me.
Think it's Morse code?
Oh no.
Then it got violent.
We missed it if it was, and also I don't want to do it.
It was Alan. And yet, it was a monster.
Yeah, it's
So
just Alan. You think Alan came back?
It's just Alan.
He always did have anger in him.
I assume she's talking about Scratch, but
I set up cameras around the apartment with motion sensors and flashes.
I heard knock on a window.
Now, when the
Okay.
monster comes, I turn it into art.
Oh, you shouldn't do
My
that.
nightmares caught on film.
This seems dangerous.
And this is the
And
focus of my new
stupid?
exhibition. To show people the world is so much darker than they ever knew. I'm calling this exhibit The Dark Place.
Gaff Merengue's deck. Full title.
Alice. Scratch was terrorizing her. Why? I sat in the writer's room and wrote a story. Initiation. To project myself through the dark place, to look for a way out. The story had brought me here, brought me nowhere. Looped me back. I was writing the story. And in the story, I now stepped into the writer's room. But there was no one here writing.
Womp womp.
Like the live action cut.
Yeah, it's real good.
Very cool.
Also, I'm kind of sad that we were that close to the to the end there. It's fine.
I do think that level was great, but like we'd reached the limit of like how long it was cool to be around that type of anime.
Yeah.
And then it moved on, so that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, it gave me a thing there and then vanished very quickly before I could finish reading it.
It was the other side.
Well, I was talking about the little like tutorial thing. It said something about
I
like
just
point
saw
of
the achievement.
Oh, it said something about point of interest cases. I assume it's talking about the like extra stuff that we've been doing, like the Alex Casey stuff and the cult caches.
Okay, let's recap what you've told us so far, Ellen. For the past 13 years, you've been trapped in a nightmare dimension called the Dark
Damn
Place.
parentheses, lake
It's
slash
like New York,
ocean.
but it's not New York. And can be reached from the bottom of
Sam
Cauldron Lake,
Lotion.
but it's not really under the lake. And after all
He
this
even thought it
time,
was
you've
funny.
managed to get out.
Yeah.
But so has
Is
your
that
evil
like
doppelganger.
Stouty face?
Mr.
Oh,
Scratch?
giggle from Sam
Or is it
Lotion.
the Dark Presence?
Both. It's interchangeable. He's Scratch when he looks like me, but he can change into this other form.
And Scratch, the Dark Presence, wants to rewrite the world in his own image.
Which would be in your image, as he looks just like you.
And turn the world into a fucking nightmare.
During Deerfest, which is scheduled to take place in a couple of days. You got out of the dark place by writing a novel, the pages we've been finding. But your double edited it into a horror story that's now changing reality, taking over people, making them crazy, bringing the dark place to Bright Falls.
Yes.
Sorry.
Fiction
Want to
coming
shrink
in
the little bit.
contact with the dark place can change reality. The story is coming true, soaking into everything like darkness when night falls. But last time it...
This will be back in 2010.
Yes, last time it didn't happen all at once. The story came true bit by bit as it unfolded. And that dark presence was still bound to the lake. I stopped it before it got the ending it wanted.
Yeah, but then you turned the
Before it
lake
broke
into an
free.
ocean. What does that mean,
done that.
Alan?
There's
You didn't
still
break
time.
free.
Which brings us to your
You
magical light
specifically
switch.
didn't break free because you didn't think that could be
Magical
the ending of
doesn't
the
quite
story.
cover it. Scratch wants it to bring about his ending. That can't happen. If I can get the clicker,
Not the clicker again,
I can send
please.
him back to the dark place, make all this shit go away. Look, I know it's batshit crazy. My memory is full of holes, and I'm not sure how much I can trust. It's like a half-forgotten dream.
Not the synchronized coffee sips.
Just keep
Get
doing
the
that.
fuck out of
It's not the
here.
first
Mr.
time.
Wade,
I know. I
Alan.
hate it. I need them to stop.
we've seen our share of batshit crazy in the past 24 hours. What I want to know is, why am I? Why are we written into the story?
I think I saw you. Or a vision of you in the dark place. I think you helped me reach out and escape somehow. With that in the story, Scratch would have edited it to get to you. To hurt you. We are all in danger.
I mean, we knew that. Like, all of us being in danger is kind of a given at this point, right?
Seems to be an element of danger.
It's insane.
Been attacked a lot of times by
And there's so much of it.
lots of people, some creatures.
Have you ever heard of the cult of the tree?
Creepy bunch. In the habit of wearing deer masks, performing murder rituals, victims turning into monsters possessed by darkness. Possibly inspired by a horror story written by a certain author. Ring any bells?
The cult. Yes. Yes. They have the clicker.
If the cult has the clicker, does that make them Scratch's followers? How are you so certain they even have the clicker?
They could be working for Scratch. I don't remember. It's all confused.
Alan, if I'm gonna act on this information, you need to be honest with me.
Yeah, of course.
Is he confused? Or is he hiding something?
I think he's just a bad writer. Here's the thing. I bet you.
Everything seems not to make sense. Remember, you're in a story written by Alan Wake.
Reporting.
Ooh, look.
But speaking of, now that you are, no, let me pet. Let me pet. No. Horrible.
Pet?
Horrible.
No pet?
No pet.
No pet.
What about the shop? I mean, that would be great, but how often am I stunning?
We don't have the means to do
Saga was
most
sure
of
she had
those
hit the taken in
things.
the head.
Yeah.
But
We'll
it
do
not
the
even slowed the monster down.
we'll do the double headshot one.
She took aim and fired again. Another headshot. This time, the taken staggered.
Then we would have a stun.
Yeah.
Could potentially be the other one. This. Alan.
Wake said the
What's
cult
going on,
has the
bud?
clicker. How
Lot
does
of
he
listening
know?
right now.
The writer is the reader. The next chapter. The next chapter. the next chapter. Keep the pages safe, the dark shining of the words.
Wake is
Why
hiding
is he
pages.
delivering the lines like this?
That's how he knows the cult has the clicker. Wake has a double, Mr. Scratch. Where is he now?
A cloud of wrath wears my face. The dark place in your place. Scratching out my body of work.
Scratch is here, in Washington. He's hunting Wake.
I mean, that tracks.
Scratch looks just like Wake. Why?
Don't wake up the dreamer if your life is a dream. I swam to the shore, but the water is rising.
Wake and Scratch are clearly connected. Maybe Scratch got out because Wake did. Or vice versa.
Well, that didn't really tell us much of anything, now did it?
No. That was more just like speculation than just using magic to get the answers for free.
Almost like that's how that sort of method should work anyway?
Yeah.
Wild. Hey, you're hiding shit?
Okay, Mr. Wake. I know you have more pages of the manuscript on you.
You don't understand how vital these pages are. They're the only way I can know what's coming.
You're not the only one trying to solve this. This is our job.
Okay. Here. Now, this is all I have. Be careful with them.
Hold them up like that, Alan. Why can't I grab the fucking pages, Alan?
Inside the trailer,
Why did you
at
do
the
it yourself?
outskirts of Watery, Saga had seen Wake's fabled clicker for the first time, in the hands of the Cult of the Tree. A cultist stared at her. She drew her weapon.
Okay. Well, that's not what I wanted. I wanted the case board.
Wake just gave us a lot of information.
Silly guy.
But this clicker seems like a good place to start. If we find that, then we find the
It's
cult.
very goofy. Where is the clicker? It's with the cult. And I mean, that's what Alan said, so, you know.
The Cult of the Tree has the clicker Wake told me about. They're a part of all this.
We knew the cult were. Cult's the main thing that we're here dealing with.
Right? Could be followers of Scratch? Cult goal? Yeah.
To be fair, we still don't know if the cult are like pro or anti the monsters coming out of the lake.
Yeah. Having cultists that victims are like cult? Cult ritual. Cult psychology. That makes more sense. There are a lot of bits here that are a little hard to keep track of sometimes.
It's fine. It's fine if you just
Yeah.
try them on everything until it works.
Well, they don't have to.
Yeah, but
It's fine.
It's not
if they
penalty.
have to. Yeah. Any other pieces? Nothing else. Oh, I'm assuming this one's got little files on it. Oh, it's a new
The
one.
pages we've been finding are from a horror story called Return, written
see.
by Alan
I
Wake.
understand.
And the contents of this book are coming true.
I want this
Why couldn't it
sweater.
have been a romance?
it's a good sweater. It does look Christmassy though.
Yeah, but I'd take it. I'd accept it. The only vaguely Christmassy sweater I'd be down for.
It's not actually Christmas.
Nah, it just gives
It just
a
looks it.
gives the
Yeah.
vibe. How does the story change reality and the rules or the dark?
Okay,
It goes with
okay.
The dark place. Or excuse me, the dark place. There's entity. Well, obviously, that goes over
I
there.
think they might go over there.
Inside the bright light. It's gonna keep unlocking everything. I'm just gonna immediately put those there. talking about Scratch. Breaking our reality bit by bit. Fiction coming into contact with the dark place. Where's this going?
I'll stop the story.
Must get the clicker. The clicker?
I'm gonna click him.
I'm gonna click him. Our place merged with theirs, so nope, never mind. Dark presence? Light and the dark presence?
Is it the clicker? No, it can't be.
Some other strange reality. The dark place merged with ours. This place and the dark place. Page called this area an overlap. Does it go there?
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay. I just needed to read all of it. I guess.
Right.
Jeez, Saga, do we have to be on the floor?
All the way to the floor. You fell back.
Could have, didn't have to put it all the way down there. Is the thing. Right, so that is.
It's all
of
on the
that
page.
for now.
The clicker, the cult. Okay, I'll head to Watery and find this trailer. Casey,
gonna
you stay
visit the
here and keep
amusement
an eye on Mr. Wake.
Got it.
No, you need me there.
No dice, pal. This is an FBI investigation, and I don't see a badge on that flannel.
When he said flannel.
Hates it. Does not respect this man.
Jesus. Also, from now on, we can
Ooh.
switch between Alan and Saga's stories via the bucket and the janitor's break room. Feel free to play in whatever order you choose.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, we've been playing as Alan for a bit. Oh, nice. Gives you death, but shatters in the process. Well, I don't want to use that, but that's cute. It's a little oh dear diner mug.
I think you have one of them. Yeah.
Put this down here.
So we can carry items between the two characters.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Or here. Rocket flare. Sorry. Wait. What?
That type of flare? You said
Yeah.
that was the...
Ati and the janitors. I need to go see Ati and the janitors immediately.
Let's see. I thought the music sounds a bit like what plays when Eddie's around. He's always like playing music.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is the janitor's covered.
Beautiful. All right, we're gonna play Saga for a little bit because we did just
You
play as
wrote
Alan
these pages
last
in the
time.
dark place.
Yeah.
So why are we finding them here?
We'll probably swap between
I
each of
think I
them, like
wrote them
like between streams.
I remember
That makes sense.
writing an
We'll do
endless
Saga
amount
this
of
time,
pages.
and we'll do Alan next time.
When this happened before, the pages were being sent from the dark place to help me. Maybe the same thing is happening here.
That's all for now, Mr. Wake.
I'll move over here so it's
Thank you
easier
for
on you,
your
buddy.
cooperation.
I'm sorry. That's the janitor's closet. We put the key.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, welcome.
Okay.
That's a
Past
huge
favorite
fucking
Dear
sponge,
Best
man.
Buds. Go.
A yarn puppet monstrosity.
Stuffed moose and squirrels one.
No, thank you. Those beady dead marble eyes still give me nightmares.
Why was that man just staring at me as he was having a conversation with these other people?
That was a weird conversation they just
and
had.
welcome to Coffee World, voted Washington's best coffee-themed amusement park. All of our attractions are family-friendly and available to children of all ages.
We missed
Just like our
ad
coffee.
earlier, and I'm bad about it, but it was for the boys.
So, take a sip of our Oh Dear Diner organic coffee and let
Don't
the
know that.
adventure
Yeah.
begin.
It was in the police station as you were leaving.
Hold on for dear life on the Espresso Express.
This guy punched a bear,
Oh!
but it was the cardboard bear in the
So
diner.
here's some local history at the
The do not touch bear?
where two serial killers
Fix
once
the do
hid
not touch.
the disemboweled bodies of their murder victims.
Punched it.
It's not
Super
haunted.
touched it.
No.
But that's also the guy that we met in the. Oh my
and
god.
the goats at our amusement park petting zoo. Just don't share your coffee with the goats.
That's the guy that we met in the forest.
Goats coffee.
Who's
Seriously.
the FBC guy?
It's not
Right.
important. Take in amazing views from the slow roaster Ferris wheel. I can almost see the Warrior Lighthouse trailer park. This is so much fun. And to finish off at our beautiful gift shop where seniors and children
These
under 10
puns,
receive a 9%
though.
discount on keychains and propane tanks. Welcome to Coffee World. We guarantee you'll jaw a great time.
Oh, it's back away.
Third time I've requested something be done about the TV in my room. It keeps going on by itself. It's keeping me awake all night.
Yes, sir, I'm terribly sorry for that.
It does have
We've called a
ear,
professional
my God.
electrician. In the meantime, have you tried unplugging the TV for the night?
Oh, there's an idea, Einstein. Why don't I just get rid of everything I'm paying for in that room while I'm at it? Sleep on the floor. Go to the toilet in the corner. Yeah, I'm not
Unplug
unplugging
TV.
it.
You
You're
fuck,
fixing
man.
it.
Of
For
course.
real,
sir.
my guy.
You can plug it back in when you want to watch it.
Wow! I can't be too surprised that that's how he's responding to that,
No.
though. You're using that broom wrong.
Not really sweeping anything.
That's a push broom, not a pull broom.
How's
Kind
it
of has
going?
to touch the floor as well, or it's not.
Yeah,
not
she's
really.
kind of hovering there.
It's also sweeping the only part that doesn't
That
have
doesn't have
leaves.
any leaves.
There's a whole lot wrong with what's happening
Hey,
here.
buddy, how are you doing? Feeling okay? I do just want to take a quick look around town.
Makes sense.
'Cause I like seeing what there is to see. Y'all got anything to say? Oh, it's
How
the
are you?
picture man again. Gonna photobomb. Hey!
Good to see you.
Is the lady still spinning in the alley? Oh, she's gone. You're right by the
Yeah.
dumpster.
If he's not there.
Ooh.
Who are you? Who are you?
Hi,
No.
suspicious man.
Putting up a sign? I did also want to try and find, like, some more of those mayor, pamphlets.
Yeah. Seems to show up in the main place.
Yeah.
Oh no, oh no! What will become of my birds now? Where will they go? Who will feed them? Fly away, find a happier place. Go while you still can.
Because the cops showed up here. Can you help me with that?
Now why'd you go and do that?
You wanted them to go
Stomping
away!
around like that and scaring the poor little things.
See if I ever try to help again. This thing around here.
Yeah, lunchbox.
More of those kids' lunchboxes.
Lunchbox. You wouldn't believe how hard it was to track down these lunchboxes. Thank goodness for the internet.
That's 5 fragments, not you now have 5 fragments.
Yeah, the first couple of times that showed up was a little confusing.
The first one for like 1 each.
Yeah.
And what about old Margaret?
Well, it's nothing there. Hi, friend. Let's see if we can go up towards the church, because we didn't really get that far last time.
Gotta remember to buy stuff for taco night. Hot sauce, extra hot. Show Pete who's who.
Have tacos? Oh.
I need to go back.
No!
Got a case to solve.
Did say wrong way, do not enter.
But, then why are there 2 lanes?
Watch out for the Deer Fest prep work.
That's fair.
See you around.
Oh yeah, that's too late.
I have a question. Hi, Tom. It is my affiliate anniversary. It is true. Your
Oh yeah, you got Philly on Halloween.
Yeah, yeah, I did.
It was destined to be.
It was perfect. Thank you, though. How are you doing? Hey, look, it's Corey the Cod.
Hey, Tom.
The Sunday market
How are you doing, friend?
That's right. Our
There's
favorite
the video.
sponsor, Davis Family Beef Jerky, can now be enjoyed in smoked hickory, teriyaki, and hickory teriyaki.
Wow.
I handed out samples here at the Valhalla Nursing Home and thought I'd catch up with one.
Where is this dog going hog wild?
A gnashing animal. I
What's
saw a
gnashing?
possum get gnashed.
I have to head back. Got things to do.
But dog, I want to go up there.
We don't want to go anywhere that says it's the wrong way.
Gonna have too much sugar eaten with sweets left over after the trick-or-treaters have stopped? Nice. Here for it. Yeah, glad you're doing good.
People get trick-or-treaters if they're in apartments, but Kish made cookies.
I did make cookies. And also, I'm glad I don't get trick-or-treaters.
Yeah. But you can eat the leftover trick-or-treat candy.
I mean, I can always buy trick-or-treat candy.
That's fair.
And then eat the leftovers, which would be all of it.
The whole thing.
I mean, candy is going to be super cheap tomorrow, is the thing.
Yeah. That's a powerful move.
So are all the Halloween decorations, which, you know, works great for me as a Halloween celebrator all year round.
It's Halloween always here, except on Halloween, where that's kind of played, actually. Let's have a day off. You do tend to do less Halloween content during the spooky season.
Well, it's like everyone's doing it.
Yeah, because everyone else is doing it.
And it's not necessarily like, I guess I'm gonna stop because everybody's doing it. But it's like, I'll take a break. Everyone else has got this for me. Thanks, y'all.
It's good.
Usually I do like the
Anderson,
big
I didn't wanna
Halloween
say this
stream
if
and
I were
everything.
awake, but are you sure
But with
this is a
Ascension
good
being
idea?
released and
Going on your
you
own?
being here and everything, it's like,
Assuming
Sorry.
no, don't
Yeah, Halloween
apologize.
stream.
out.
This is
We
fine.
need to find the
Get
cult.
to do stuff IRL,
Anyone we
even
meet
if it
here
is
could
just
be a
make
member.
cookies.
And this scratch
I'm here
guy.
for this.
The evil
And we do get to do
doppelganger?
Silent Hill on
Must be
Halloween,
true,
which is
or
usually
else
what I
this
do
guy can't
anyway.
write for
Do.
shit.
So, you know,
The quality of his writing
It's
aside,
great.
if
Lol.
this page turns out to be true like the rest have, this could be a breakthrough.
Everyone knows he's a bad
we might solve
writer.
this thing
good
before
writer.
backup even arrives.
Yeah, but they're taking their time, so
It's
just
not
be
like,
careful out there.
when you think about it, it's not like 100%
Meanwhile,
fair,
me and
because
Wake will have a chat.
Alan Wake's writing is
Maybe I
very
should shoot
passable
something
for
loose.
video games.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Just we expect a
remember what happened with the salt
little
shaker.
notch above from Remedy.
Yeah, real funny.
The page placed me in a trailer, somewhere in Watery.
Are we gonna go where
I should
Rose
ask
lives?
around.
Local girl.
The flooding is even worse here.
Yeah.
More like underwatery. I'll have to tell Casey that one later.
Not Tom and Saga having essentially the same joke at the same time. My God.
What did you used to say your dream job was as a kid? I bet it wasn't dock worker.
I don't know about
Saying
all that.
that to me?
Idle hands are the devil's playground. So,
Well, us fishing types appreciate you all, at least.
Yeah.
Boating.
It is actually the like vistas are lovely in this
Yeah,
game.
no, they're beautiful. I like it. This game is really pretty. And it's just like, I don't know, it surprises me every time. I want to be the coffee pot.
Vote for everyone. For
For
water.
Mayor Center stuff.
Mayor Seta will stand up for justice.
Stand up for justice. Give me one of those Danishes. Give me that moose. Hey, give me that moose.
You have to bribe me with food or I'm not voting for shit.
It's true. What are you doing? Checking for rain?
Hanging out. Wibbling. Having a wiggle.
Just out for a wiggle.
Mom's family was from Sweden. I've always imagined it kind of like this. Saunas, lakes. Seems nice.
You good?
Enjoying the sauna.
You bet.
Is this a sauna?
The steam is amazing on my creaky old joints.
Your
I'm just
feet
waiting
are
for
purple.
Ati to wrap up his show so we can crack open some beers.
I've read that taking a sauna is good for preventing
Hold on.
dementia.
Oh my god.
And so
Stop
is beer.
talking to me. Stop talking to me. Is that Ati?
Hey, Seva, a sauna doesn't fix what ails ya. You're a
Whatever.
goner.
No.
They also say silence is
No,
golden.
it's not Ati. I mean, it'd be weird if it were Ati.
Ever
not
heard
being
of
in his,
the cult of the tree?
janitor outfit, but
The half deer, half man monsters?
he needs to
sure I've heard of
not be out
Yeah,
here. His
he's
feet are
so
purple.
Risk
He's
taking
put some
walks
socks
in the
on.
forest
Oh,
anymore.
God.
If one of them shows
So your
up,
toes are
how
too
am I
cold.
supposed to get away? I can't run with a bad hip. I'd be
You can't
killed
run with
for
your
sure.
feet.
I could maybe use my crutches to defend myself. Do you think that'd work? You're the professional.
Probably smart just to stay in the sauna for now.
Goodness, I am worried about this man.
Go back in the sauna. Your feet are bad.
Why is it so dark in here? Give me all of that, please. And that.
Whew. Hot.
That's. Oh, it's like a sauna in here.
Duck.
Yeah.
Alright, let's not be in the sauna in our clothes. I think we'll die. I think that's how we explode.
Burst in a flame.
I mean, basically.
Have you heard old Pat's radio show lately?
Anything over here?
I fear he's losing his...
Talking about somebody just losing their mind. Over here. There's so much to look at.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
So much stuff waiting for you.
It's the boys. We'll wait to talk to them.
The boys?
Not the boys. It's the not. I can't call them brothers because that also makes it sound like I'm talking about Odin and Thor.
Yeah.
No.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
The new boys, the brothers from the TV.
They're boys, sure.
I think they're pretty alright.
They're no replacement for the old boys.
No, they're not the Andersons. Which is Saga's last name. It was Thor and Odin Anderson, wasn't it?
So many times I can keep fixing the same.
Could have been. Yeah, it's the Anderson family.
Yeah. Not that. Auntie!
That is Ate.
Okay then. Catchy tune. Excuse me.
I got excited because I saw that it said Valhalla, and I was like,
show.
"Is it our actual boy?"
Agent to ever get shushed.
I'm gonna stand over here so it's a little quieter. Oh god, nope, it's louder actually. You know what? Fucking copyright strike me. I don't give a shit. Ati's here.
He's doing a good job of singing over it.
Oh! Oh!
Huh.
You thinking about Scratch over here? Sorry, this is what we're doing now. Turn that off. Hey, where'd the captions go? Oh.
Oh, jeez. Oh, no.
Auntie!
Take the captions away again.
This does confirm that this is at least an in-game song.
Yeah.
And not likely one to get struck unless Remedy decides to be a dick about it.
Kaivon pohjalle ruumiskasan. Tästä yöstä ei
You're knitting.
kukaan. Synkäs huoneessaan
That's a little better. I can still hear it though.
onki houreistaan sinut säkeeseen. Hän peilistä
So proudly.
murhan poltesse kruunuja.
I love this for him.
Tunnet, et voi
Hey, in case you didn't know, he's still singing in Finnish.
piiloutuu veriverhon taa.
Unless he wasn't singing in Finnish before.
Se sielun syö on yötön yö.
I think going by so fast now.
Kuin painajainen hän luoksesi saa.
I don't think it's ever gonna end.
Hänet verhot tuon varjon.
It's a long one.
Terrifying, strange dive, dark depths of an artist's mind. Filled by Thomas Zane. Starring Thomas Zane as the diver, Barbara Jaeger, was that her name? Whatever. It's Barbara as the dark presence. Cynthia Weaver as the Lady of the Light. That's Lamp Lady.
Yeah.
Camille Hartman as the
This is
Sigmund.
known by Alan Wake.
Wow. 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 Dark Doppelganger. If you heart to life, Thomas Zane.
Thomas Zane's the man who brought himself out of existence before the events of Alan Wake 1.
Yeah. Why is there a big box?
He's also like the big lights. He kind of tried to save Alan, whatever trace of him was left, by like writing hope into his story of being owned by a super cool witch. Seven, right? Unless it's less than that now, I can't remember.
I don't remember. Moose Fest? Is this Watery's own Nessie? Alright. Oh, that's an interview with Ilmo, one of the brothers. Alright. What's in here? Don't worry about it. Alright. Map!
Look at that map.
Hello. Do you have a second?
Ah, long time and no see, Miss Anderson.
I know you.
Thor and Odin are not here. They are old tricksters always.
Are they
sneaking
related?
off.
Sorry, no, I wanted to ask you about something else. Can you point me to any trailers around here?
Yeah.
Sure.
Is he related to them,
Lighthouse
or are they related to
Trailer
each other?
Are they
Or
related
we
to...
relate to them.
Yeah.
Right.
Are Thor and Odin related to Saga?
And where is Ilmo?
I saw Ilmo and his brother at the bridge.
Yeah, we know where they are.
Used to be the bridge.
Really related?
Or not.
I mean, that'd be pretty
Do you
rad.
live
I'd
around
love
here?
to be related to them.
I live in Bright Falls. You've seen me around. I am Mr. Blum. You call me Vladimir. I work at a nursing home. I take care of your old people. We are on day trip, music, sauna, the good times. I bring them here in the bus.
The elderly are very important. And it's a very nice bus. Thanks.
There are a lot of people that, well, it's been two so far. It's been this man and Rose who've been like, Saga Anderson! And she's like, I don't know who the fuck you are. And they keep acting like she's like, from here? Do you think
Watery's
that
definitely
all of this writing nonsense that Alan has been doing is just kind of fluffed Saga out from the crowd and like just changed her into an FBI agent, even though she's not.
Maybe.
And that's why she's like, but my daughter is fine, actually. And everyone's like, bro, she's fucking dead.
Yeah.
Saga, no. That's my guess for right now.
Hey, where's the time gone? There's just a wretched husk of what used to
They
be
are
me left.
closed, out of business, and for sale. Is the plot of Alan Wake the same as Stranger Than Fiction? Not entirely inaccurate. Yeah, no, that's all I'll say about that.
It's so the plot of Alan Wake 1 is.
Yeah, things happen. They definitely occur. Alan is definitely bad at writing, and he hates his wife, and she needs to escape as soon as possible. And there is definitely some influence of writing on the real world.
Yeah, we're pretty sure the things we're playing now are like a story that Alan Wake wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Because a fictional man is following us around. He is our partner in the FBI.
But he's not the fictional man. He just happens to look exactly like the actor that plays him in the movies, and
has the same
name and the same job
and the same outlook on life. The same cheery personality.
Definitely his own person. Definitely
Another
unrelated.
satisfied customer. I just hope he remembers to write a good
Love how
review on
cheery
the
this man
webpage.
is.
Great to see you back in Watery, Saga. Everyone in town missed you.
Super nice to see you again, Saga.
They act like they've known me for years. This keeps
happening.
happening.
Keeps happening.
Weird how that's working
Are you
out,
familiar
huh?
with the cult of the tree?
Yeah, we always thought it was an urban legend. Kids drawing creepy symbols to scare each other, but, now it's gotten pretty damn real, huh?
It's terrible what happened.
Oh, I like you, Wiley.
We're all in shock.
Well, we're looking into it. Hoping to get things back to normal soon.
We're all for that.
Forest Green Wellies yourself.
Yeah, let's get
As
Wiley.
normal as it ever gets around here.
Alan and I were trying to find a pair last year. Back in like not this last summer, but the summer before.
You own the
'Cause
trailer
we were
park,
gonna
right?
go stomping around
Mind if I take a look inside?
the Fossil Gorge that's around here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
That's
the owner
fun.
of the Water Lighthouse
apparently
Trailer
at the
Park,
time when we were
me,
looking, they
can help
were.
you with that.
I think everyone
It's
was
good
getting
to have
crabbing
our
a pair at the
funniest
time.
president back.
Resident.
So they just weren't in stock.
I don't understand what you mean.
If this is your way of getting out of any outstanding bills, don't worry. They've been handled.
Must be hard coming back to where you and your little girl lived.
It's like they remember a different reality. Is the horror story messing with their memories? So what is Coffee World?
You mean you haven't seen our commercial for it? Coffee World
like
is
it
a
was
smooth
ill-known. I was
blend
trying
of
to get a peer
rides,
review
food,
of
and
them, but,
fun. We even had a real moose. Until recently. Plus,
Kind of weird to take
right
a
next
pause
to
mid
Coffee
combo
World
for your
is
own
the
internal
workshop
monologue,
of
but
our
okay.
own Kalevala
Let's start
Nights
doing that.
motorcycle
No, it was
club.
allowed.
We're busy building the
very
floats for Deer Fest. Don't go peeking.
accommodating of Saga just being in a different plane of
we're setting the big
existence half
reveal
the
for Deer
time.
Fest.
Like when we go into the Mind Palace to put stuff on the board, time doesn't pause.
Nope,
They're just seeing us standing there.
Yep, we're
staring
just
up into the distance.
Got a 100-mile gaze.
7 were in it? How did I know?
You were just remembered?
These are my FBI magic powers.
Oh, I've missed one of the 6. We'll do Koskolas in a minute. Hiccups. I just wanted to demonstrate the
So
Mind Palace technique.
your commercials.
And now I'm just
They're more than
standing here while the
commercials, Saga.
Koskolas just
Our goal is to both
look on
entertain
a little
and
worried.
educate local viewers about the fine products
It's
and services
classic
we provide.
Saga tuning out
And,
midway through a
Yako
conversation.
here really comes
It's
alive
fine.
in front of the camera. Really.
Fuck off. I'm just there for the free beer.
a fictional
Not sure
thing.
what Ilmo's excuse is. Hey, I'm writer, producer, co-lead, director. Do yourself a favor and, check them all out.
I should make sure I've gotten everything out of profiling.
Yeah, Saga, you have to give me a minute to do literally anything? You're as bad as Alan. No, that's for later. Okay. Oh god! Too many things. Pottery? No, that's brain balls. Yeah. Nursery rhymes. No one? No.
Weird. Don't know why that came off the board.
Yeah, sometimes things just get knocked off.
Apparently.
Remembers writing many pages while in the dark place. Writing part of the ritual? Great. Fact versus fiction.
Wake says the story will change reality around us.
I do like
If that's
this,
true,
even
then
though
I
it's
need to
not,
know
like,
what's
super
real
involved.
and what's fiction.
It is nice to kind of just like take a break from everything. It helps keep everything sorted because there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And it is just like a nice break from everything else that's happening. Put Rose there. But what's Logan's part in the story? Being dead. Trailer park nearby called why is okay? It's
Trailer park is a good place to look for a trailer. Keep it simple, Saga.
what Ilmo knows. What does Ilmo know?
Elmo thinks the cult is just an urban legend. Or does he?
There are things that go bump in the night. It's all true. It's all true. Sound the alarm, brother. Gather the troops, brother. Yako, the shadow of the forest is creeping closer.
Is Yako
They
the
don't
name of
think
his brother?
It's an urban legend at all.
Ilmo and Yako.
They understand it's dangerous.
Definitely missed brother's name.
Ilmo
Yeah,
made it sound like I lived here.
I
I only
remember.
know Ilmo because they keep
Does he
saying
really
it.
believe that?
Light, laughter, and love will guide you home. Saga and her daughter. Oh boy. Happy faces raise property value. Family comes first, Ilma. We take care of her trailer while she's gone. She's one of us, Yako. Her spare key is safe and sound.
The Koskela brothers have happy memories of me living here. This must be the story affecting them. I'll play along for now.
No,
I need the key to
Saga.
that trailer.
It's affecting someone.
It is. Yeah, it's, someone's being affected here. I like that you can see all the maps here. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is.
We got the watery map.
It's a lot of stuff.
Fucking kidding me? I will get my cane back out.
Sorry, there's someone just jumping upstairs?
Like full on, like a monster stomping.
There's a monster stomping. It is Halloween season. I don't think it's big game picked up on the mic.
No, but I can hear it.
That's true.
thought about submitting that report this morning. The it's called a maintenance report, but it's just a report to property management to be like, the fuck is going on up there?
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot, and it's constant, and it's rude. Is what it is.
Good.
Okay, we can leave here. I'd like to see my
All
trailer.
joking aside, yes, I would like to see my trailer. Do you have a spare set of keys?
Good for you. Yeah, I have a
See that
spare
right back
set.
there.
They're just over at Coffee World. I'd get them for you, but Yako and I have to head to Bright Falls. The spare keys are in the gift shop safe.
Yeah, she's
I'll call ahead
that
and
whole
have
time
someone get them
just
out for you.
standing there.
Oh, the road's flooded.
Very good.
But if you just follow this trail behind me, it'll lead you there.
Usually it's not too
Call the gift
horrible
shop
because it's
so they
like
can give
we're
Saga a
just in the
hand.
middle of the forest or standing in the the room. Helvala, nice.
Nothing?
Right.
There's Coffee World.
But yeah,
Need to
usually
get across the river.
we're in a place where there aren't a bunch of people staring at us. Not this time.
Honestly, just gotta take a minute to decide what to say next in the conversation.
I feel like that she just commits to going like waist deep into the water. Get that first aid kit that we will probably not use for a very long time. Again, we're in a new area. We gotta just take a little peek around.
What was that?
Oh.
The way she just immediately went for her gun. I did not do that. Let's get this out. Too, just in case.
Fuck!
Huh. Some throwing stuff?
FBI, show yourself!
He scooted.
Giggling weirdo. Hate Ferris wheels. Boring.
Right? Very slow.
They're slow and it's cold at the top. It's not many positives to Ferris wheels.
Oh.
I guess it's nice to like.
It's only a lot of fun if there is like a lot of stuff around you want to take a look at.
Yeah, but then you could have like a big set of stairs up on the instead of a Ferris wheel and it did the same effect.
More people turning into Taken.
Effective.
Is it the
Sometimes you
cult?
can't get big enough stairs.
Or the story?
I'm gonna build
Or
the biggest stairs. My theme pack's just gonna be stairwell.
You also have to consider that would mean you have to go up all of those stairs.
That's true, but then you won't be cold.
Yeah, but then I wouldn't be able to breathe. Hi, I'm an asthmatic.
Yeah, have everything.
Another rhyme.
You'd rather have heat or oxygen?
Oxygen.
Heat.
Oxygen. Gentle beast with a beautiful crown runs through the woods with a worried frown. And the hunter he flees between the mighty trees to take it out alive. I mean... Oh, and got a deer doll too? Oh! We just have these always. Okay.
Yeah.
Moose doll.
Yes.
Okay. It's something.
Make sure you get the thingy before you
Yeah.
roam off. Sorry.
But...
Why?
Hello? What was I writing about? Moose in trees?
Is there any moose in the trees then? Any freemen?
No. Okay.
It's
Does it show me on the map? Oh, is that what you wanted me to pick up? Was the crossbow bolts?
crossbow.
Crossbow bolts?
Can a crossbow?
I don't know that I'd use it. Just saying.
What if you can pick up the ammo location? What if it's reusable ammo?
A charm. Okay then.
But also crossbow bolts? Can I take these?
Or are you just looking at the crossbow bolt?
Is this where the crossbow bolt is?
I mean, I can see crossbow bolts in the thing. I just don't know why they're relevant. Maybe we're not getting a crossbow. Yes, the ammo's reusable. You can pick it up and shoot it again.
No. 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 It's a bad weapon. I stand by it. It's a shit weapon. Don't use it. It's not worth the hassle. That's not the thing. What's here?
In fairness, when you get like first enemy's Don Pedro, and it's like you're not stopping him with that.
No.
Why would he give me this and then give me him and then?
Bad.
Two things combined together to make a horrible event.
Just reaffirms that you don't use it.
I guess.
Another locked box.
How is it locked this time?
Oh, thumbnail. You'd pick a very easy pattern though.
Right. Found another dead taken over by the radio tower. Looked like it was bashed to death. There's a lunchbox and some knitting by the corpse too. Took care of the body, but that's the third one this month. Everyone keep your eyes peeled. We need to find this guy and let him know the cult of the tree means business. I mean, it does seem like they're not a fan of these creatures.
Yeah.
So not, I mean, like, the cult in New York was called Cult of the Word, right? And these ones are Cult of the Tree.
Both stupid names.
I mean,
Still
definitely.
be the same guy.
I just don't feel like they're the same guy.
Yeah.
I mean, they might be. I could be wrong. But just from what we've heard so far, doesn't seem correct.
It's that we know from having played the first game that Nightingale did become a Taken. Like he got.
Yeah.
So he should have still been one. So presumably the thing they were doing was to try and stop him getting back up, right?
Yeah.
Without that extra knowledge, it's less obvious. Could still be that. Or maybe they just hate everyone. Maybe they're just no one's friend.
These crossbows show up.
Crossbow bolt.
There's another cult stash.
Hey, you can take your crossbow out, put it back in the stash when you're done. P.S. I changed the code.
Is it going to be the amount of crossbow bolts in places?
Probably. That's going to be frustrating. 2 and 2. 1 and 5. Oh, 5 to 7. Okay. I understand. 5. The other way. You aren't wearing the mask. This does not belong to you. Well, it's fine now.
You in fact get a crossbow.
And now I can pick these up. Okay. That's a little silly, but we'll take it. You only stack up to 4? They better hit like a truck.
Yeah. Problem is if they're like the crossbow weapon, the only upside is that the ammo's reusable and everything else is just trash. It's hard to justify.
And we'll just shove it in the shoebox.
Yeah.
That's how we would handle that situation.
Gotta have something else going for it.
Let's see. You know what? We'll do. Oh, your darts, but. Oh God.
Wait, that better hit hard. This.
You get him back. I assume you get him back if you miss. You probably can't get him back off of a corpse.
Probably.
We'll think about it.
Or at least like chance of them breaking if they hit.
Oh God. There you go. There's a break. Alright. Why?
Oh, the others are one step.
I saw the 4 and I got confused, and that's because I have it equipped to the 4 slot.
Right.
I understand. Oh.
Oh, that's 3 slots too? The crossbow?
In the round.
Reload faster if the ammo's near the shotgun.
Oh God, why did I keep doing this?
Try you for a minute, crossbow, but
Not sticking around for very long, bucko.
they'll like delete people.
Right? Oh God, so many. Go down there. One market is red. Deer in here? Any deer in here?
The super dead deer.
Yeah, we don't want the super dead ones. Those are no good.
Oh,
I heard.
Technically, they're just as dead as the other.
Look super.
They look dead.
Did I say that? I'd already forgotten though. Where am I?
I think that's the luck one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Still haven't found a screwdriver yet, huh? Yeah. I guess we want to keep going. Oh, there was a trauma pad in there that I missed. We have turn around. Hi.
Ritual. Late night poker game. The animal.
Yo, late night poker game?
Yeah, he did. That's not horrible.
It does a lot of damage. It's just the reload takes 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You did get one of the bolts there.
No. I'm gonna put it away.
Yeah.
We'll consider bringing it back out after we do some like upgrades and stuff, but it's low priority.
Okay.
Are the upgrades for this one? There's a quick sort option around here. That'd be cool. Realize it's because I keep clicking too close to the like arrow button, but it's silly and that shouldn't be a thing. Just saying.
Those keep getting.
Yeah. Right there. Right is this if this on the other needs to be.
Have a well picked too.
True.
The monster's okay.
Well, quick save. I think the noise that I keep hearing is me just leaving the safe zone, but it sounds like a shadow person.
Can you aim your gun for a second?
No, not really quick.
Okay, I was wondering. It just said in the bottom corner the crossbow was equipped. I just wanted to see what happened. Huh.
Dirty bottle.
Didn't have the effect that had top spot.
I was just hoping it would fucking vanish.
I hoped it would blow up.
Yeah, vanish.
Vanish, but with extra drama.
Hello? take your backpack.
General store. A knight.
A secret room. Better than in your backpack. Oh, these fiery friends all over the fence.
Yeah. All the chunks are gone now. Probably for the best. My gun can hold 18 bullets now.
Yeah.
My god.
Not bad.
Not bad. What's up? That was a radio tower, right?
Yeah.
It's artisan cuckoo clock designer Terry Feldman. Terry, how are we today?
Hey there, Pat. Doing just fine. I'm a super big fan of the show. What a treat to be on with you today.
The pleasure's all mine, Terry.
Thanks.
Now, I hear you're doing something special for Deerfest. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm crafting
Okay,
a selection of
Oh, we
custom
do.
basewood cuckoo clocks, but the real special
We do, though.
sauce is when it's cuckoo
Like
time
that.
and you're expecting a
He's
bird
just like-
to pop out for a chirp.
An old dude who loves nature and stuff, and like gets people to call in, but he lives in like a tiny town, so they're all just his friends.
Yeah.
Call in to check on him.
At the Sunday market. So make sure to say hello to Wendy Davis from our sponsor, Davis
Talk to them
Family
about
Beef
true
Jerky,
love.
while you're there. All right, Terry, you still there?
Yeah, still here. I'm just, geez, Pat, I'm sorry to tell you this. I thought you heard Wendy's dead.
Oh boy, that's a strange joke you're playing there, Terry.
No, it's. I'm sorry, Pat. You know all that FBI business. Wendy was one of those guys they found.
Well, that's just not possible, Terry. Wendy stopped by this morning with 3 flavors of beef jerky. She brought me the smoked hickory and the teriyaki and
The hickory teriyaki?
I'm real sorry, Pat.
What was that other one? She was just talking about this just hours ago. Smoked hickory, teriyaki, and...
I mean, it could be that she was fine and then Alan wrote her out of existence.
Thanks, Tapio. It's just a bit of a strange joke, Terry.
It could be not dementia.
Well, somebody's having a laugh over this little prank, I'm sure. Terry, thank you so much for your time. Can't wait to see those.
This was a
Deerfest
sad
cookies
one.
at the market.
Oh. There was.
And another lunchbox.
There we
I've not seen it when she said she'd seen it.
go. Lowered my rifle, standing on the car's roof. I looked out at the carnage. Zombies had almost won, but luckily I was here. Heroes are sometimes the people we least expect them to be. Now my town was finally safe thanks to me. Flung the hot piece of iron over my shoulder one more time, hopefully for the last time. Townspeople, cautiously emerging from their hiding places, surveyed the same carnage I saw and cheered my name, and I waved and they cheered again. Now I could finally get back to my quiet, unassuming life, reading books and gardening and fiber crafts and being the world's top mycology expert. Suddenly a hand seized my wrist. I looked into the eyes of the sweet, sensitive rider I had known since childhood. A smile spread across his beautiful, kind face, and I felt at peace for the first time since the zombies had first emerged. You did it! I knew you could! Now we can live in peace together for the rest of our days. Somebody's weird fanfiction about Alan, probably.
Somebody's weird fanfiction about Alan, probably.
Spread this waterfall, like, examine its beauty. Radio. Radio.
Radio. No.
Why not? Probably not.
Cannon tacklism. Good way to get a map. Fulfilling your map of the area. And sometimes there's like a survivor stash up there with like a rifle and binoculars and stuff.
Ooh. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Back down to regular path. I hope. You know what? We can do this.
Painkiller.
Hey Saga, you
My
good?
favorite.
He's been hanging out with Alex too much.
Yeah.
No. You can jump down here though. Something under here. I haven't found a ton of manuscript pages this time around.
No.
Because
Yeah, normally that hidden. I don't know.
no, but everything is like really hard to spot now.
A bit muggy out.
I'm sure this will be fine, and nothing bad will happen when we cross this river. Little thing.
Little nature play.
Yeah. Oop. Up here? Which way? Up here? Up here. Where up here? I'll take this. Fuck off.
There's another lunchbox.
Hi, hero. I think a few pieces of paper from my private fanfiction project got mixed into some of these stashes, but I don't know which ones. Posted some online and they're getting pretty good reviews. But I'd appreciate it if you didn't read them. It's a privacy thing. Somebody's fanfiction about Alan. Horrible. Game, I was joking. Ranger cabin. Don't write fanfiction about Alan Wake. He is a bad man.
I'm gonna write fanfiction about Alan Wake.
It's like specifically told you not to.
We should write fanfiction about Alan Wake.
I don't think we should. I'd like to write this.
It's got grass in it.
Yeah,
I want to write that.
I want to write it.
I want to write that.
You write your fanfiction, I write that.
How are you gonna help me with my fanfiction? While you zooming around on the water?
I can give you silly descriptions of the water. That'll be my contribution. Wow, everything like water, huh?
Yeah.
Cart. No specific reason why I think that, but what's over first before we continue on? Not anything. Okay. I'm just gonna like whip around, make everybody ill. Hot dogs are $1. Veggie dogs are $3? Jesus! I can get behind like dollar dogs.
Hey, vegetarians here.
$3 veggie dogs though? Come on. Again, at some point we will just like read all of these. Not
Hello, Big Abbott.
You know what? This is the Helldive now.
crossbow bolt tile.
Yeah,
I
honestly.
imagine it's probably going to get quite full considering they only stack to 4.
Right. Put those there.
I can't just throw ammo out in a game like this, but we are hoping we don't have to use it.
Yeah, I mean, like, if anything, we could probably use it during, like, a boss fight.
Yeah, or you could like open a fight by shooting a crossbow bolt at them and then switch it out with something else.
What if I get the bolt back?
Well, yeah, but then you still have to reload the crossbow.
Hello? Anyone here?
No.
I don't think that's people
Did
screaming.
they get out?
I think that's
Did the
the
Taken
equipment.
get them? Or were they turned into Taken? I'll need to get the key to the trailer park myself.
I
Elmo
need more
said the key is
batteries.
kept in the gift shop safe.
Yeah, we haven't been having battery problems with the Saga.
I only got so many. Granted, he's done, like, a little more fighting than he has, but I want to ride one of these.
Go on a fish.
I want a fish. They look very silly, and that it's batteries.
Nice.
That's endeared them. You want some soggy cardboard and rocks?
Yes. Immediately, please.
Coffee World review notes.
Whoa, 2 out of 5 stars.
Pros: coffee-themed names for the rides, mildly amusing. Nice use of water. Nice view of Watery from the top of the Ferris wheel. Mascots were trying their best. Sorry, they were trying their best. What else?
Killed
Okay,
the moose.
coffee. They killed the moose.
Killed the moose.
Rickety rides, creepy mood, money
Why
hungry
did he
owner.
get 2 stars when they killed the moose?
Because they killed the moose. Was it terrifying? Let's be real. They're actually like extremely scary. Probably best that moose.
Kill all moose.
Not all moose, but that moose in particular.
The moose was blameless, probably. Beautiful.
I love this one though.
Yeah, he's great.
He gets to stay. What's this? Can't read that.
Locked.
That's locked.
Need something to jimmy it open with.
Gotta get a Jimmy.
A list of maintenance work. A screwdriver. Huh.
I need that. Lock is jammed again. I forced it last time with the screwdriver, which has disappeared again. Push it back when we use it. Coffee World entrance sign defaced. Clean with detergent wax sign. Should be good until someone tags it again tomorrow. Slow roaster pot is stuck, won't swing. I hit it with some WD-40. Seems good for now. Yako, please. Fallen tree near Latte Lagoon. Should probably call the tree guy. Chainsawed and removed. Keep the wood. Yako. Several burned out bulbs on percolator. Replaced and ordered more bulbs. Thank you, Stuart. Squeaking on Latte Lagoon car B. Tighten the bolts. Less bad now. Yako. Percolator controlled panel jammed. Removed front with screwdriver. Found a penny in there.
Percolator controlled panel? Where screwdriver is?
Yeah, seems like.
Yeah.
Before we do that, let's grab the map. No? No map for me? I'd like a map.
We just have the map?
I guess we just have a map.
Yeah, well, I want a themed map with silly things on it.
Right? Okay. Let's go find the percolator. Bear.
That's fair. Just punch him.
I mean, the percolator is that way, so we have to go this way first.
Yeah.
Percolator is that way, so we'll go this way.
Why are they funny?
Slash? Dash dash? What hides behind the smile? Oh. Do I have to find him? Where he? Gotta be over here somewhere. Right? This is the murder well?
Yeah. Is that making noises?
Sounded like it.
Yeah.
It was hard to tell if it was a Ferris wheel though.
It was, but also
It echoes.
I don't trust that well.
Oh no, that's coming from the
Yeah,
well.
that didn't sound like the Ferris wheel. They didn't overlap that time.
Hello.
Well said.
Can't be opened on this side.
Horrible. Okay, where is my coffee? What is this?
Oh.
Can I stick it into the well? Can I read about the well?
Can we fish in the well for monsters?
The Huatari Well, 1913. Legend says this is the dwelling place of evil water spirit Naki, who lures people to their watery graves. In the early days of Watery's history, this very well was where Ilmari Hutari, that is, I'm not saying that correct, but I have made it rhyme. And I'm not sorry about that. Hid the bodies of his victims with the help of his brother. Wait a second.
Yeah, those are pretty close.
Those are very close to Ilmo and Yako. With the help of his brother Yakobi Huotari. It was only after Ilmari murdered his own brother that their gruesome act came to light. Or was it madness over the spirit of Naki? Or the spirit of Naki possessing Ilmari that drove him to murder, like he himself believed? Is there more to this well than meets the eye? I trust brothers. Okay,
I like the red boat.
They're very good! We're here for this level of creativity, initiative.
A fuse is missing. Can't operate the ride without it.
And I don't have a fuse anymore. Wait, unless... No, it's used. Why do we have a section for used items?
Yeah, things we used to have in our pocket.
Hey,
that are gone now.
Remember when we had Nightingale's part? Those are the days. Fun! I love...
That's not true.
Hater of fun, FruitySpruce. You're not gonna work because you don't have any power, but...
No power.
Anyway.
Must be a fuse box around here somewhere.
Yeah, we know where it is, Saga. Just gonna hold on to this bit. Take ride that way. Okay, well this is the Espresso Express. We got the murder well.
That's pressed up. We know where that is.
You.
When you ask, Mayor Seta will speak.
Who is Mayor Sutter?
It's weird that like being in the presence of physics objects makes them suddenly jump to life.
Oh.
Jump them off. You got 10 experience and an achievement for it.
I didn't think I was gonna get an achievement for that. I just did it because he was there.
I'm so glad you kind of fucking down.
Same.
Every time an achievement comes up, it's like a relief.
A moose sing mocha fact. Mocha is around 6 years old. You know moose can live up to 25 years? Mocha weighs 820 pounds. Do you know moose are the largest species of deer in the world?
Did you kill the moose by feeding it too much coffee?
Sounds like.
Did you coffee the moose to death?
Mocha loves to swim. Did you know moose can dive up to 20 feet underwater? And Mocha's favorite drink is coffee.
That's not surprising, but it's terrifying.
Right? Did you know that Mocha is the only known moose with a caffeine addiction? That's not great.
That's bad. That sucks.
One morning during Coffee World's construction, a wounded moose was discovered taking shelter inside the Fresh Pot gift shop. Though limping from a leg injury, the wily moose proved too quick for wildlife rescue. After a long and unsuccessful chase, everyone stopped for a much-needed coffee break, throwing up some of the Coffee World's finest. Before the first cup was poured, the moose appeared, drawn by the delicious aroma. He allowed himself to be treated in exchange for a steaming mug of what is now known as Mocha's Signature Blend. Since then, Mocha the Moose has become a beloved fixture of Coffee World, welcoming guests from across the country, as well as personally taste testing each of our roasts to give them the Mocha seal of approval. They killed the fucking moose because it ate too much coffee. Hey.
The moose ate so much coffee that its heart exploded.
Don't give the moose coffee.
Don't give the moose coffee. Coffee does not occur in nature.
Why are his hands so small?
one? You showed the nice one.
What's up? What was behind the smile? So I just thought.
Unbelievable.
Like these giant utensils everywhere.
Ooh.
Found it. I'll never shoot another smiling balloon ever again.
It was there, you just didn't need to murder your friend to get it.
Yeah. Fine, he wasn't my friend. That one was rude, actually. Lost cat.
You worked together to find that key. This is what Saw taught. Whichever one of the Saws it was, where there were loads of them.
I think that one was 6. I think that was 6 because it had the merry-go-round.
Yeah. No, that was
That was 6?
No, 5 were the one where there were loads of them, and 6 was the one where there were just really just one guy. I think. And it all revolved around him. So like all the people in the merry-go-round were his employees.
Yeah.
The other one was when there were like 5 of them and they had to work together, but actually they just killed each other.
That's... Listen, they all blend together after a certain point.
And the Saw, they do when they've been in the Saw traps and juice.
Another one of those cult boxes.
Kept all the ramps all the way down.
They weren't using them. M&T were supposed to be on patrol last night, but didn't show. If anyone hears anything from them, let me know. Alright, guess we should probably go to the percolator, huh?
Yeah.
Rocks and popcorn. Rocks and cardboard. Popcorn is rocks and cardboard.
Popcorn and popcorn. It's corn and heat, really.
What? Balloon pop. $2 for 5 bolts. Hit a balloon to win. You got crossbow bolts here for that?
Drink coffee out of a giant mug.
Luscious they are. Beautiful.
Yeah, the flush bit. You don't want that in the coffee.
Don't want fish in coffee.
We also watched Twin Peaks.
It's been a day for strange films.
You don't want fish in the percolate.
Never believe it.
Jesus!
It's a horrible goblin.
It's just a pot of coffee.
Please turn it off.
I made the world explode momentarily.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, he's gonna keep going, huh?
Oh, yeah. Just, keep moving
Can't
on.
kill him, he's too powerful. This is definitely more of a maniacal laugh than you'd expect.
I don't want to be here anymore. I don't like Coffee World. Should have listened to that review.
Did say the vibe was creepy.
Excuse me? Well, we're in Latte Lagoon now. Oh. This toilet is temporarily out of order. Hi.
Big. I think it's made of plastic though, so no idea.
That fish is a big fan of Coffee World. Not allowed. Saga, why did we come down here? Why didn't you tell me there was nothing here but a creepy pot of coffee? Silly show. Is the percolator the Ferris wheel? Or is Ferris wheel? Or is it another stash?
Another cult stash?
Huh?
Only start cup.
3 stripes? Got 3 stripes. 1 had 1 stripe, 4 has 3 stripes.
7? 7?
Yeah. You never know. That's not take what's not yours. Taken.
They're ours now.
Mine.
That's the first rule of taking things.
All hail Alan Wake. Ooh, look at me, I'm part of a cult. Oh boy. Not percolator. Understood. Why is there an apple core in there? That's not where that goes. What's this? Why are we looking at it from this angle? Oh.
Bad toilet.
What the fuck? All the toilets are out of order. Get your shit together.
Yeah, all the toilets are over.
Or consider they have, and that's why all the toilets are out of order. Consider 3. Okay. Just a month. Okay. Time to actually find the percolator now. Can I open you? Did I miss you? How did I miss you?
Awful. I don't have anything in.
Close. Would that feel
could've-
rude?
Yeah, I put millions bugs.
Okay, percolator. To the left.
Trusting you, Beth.
Percolator. To the left. But we were here, and it was scary here.
No one was percolating shit.
Percolator. How did...
How did we miss that?
Ilmo thinks it's very funny.
Okay then.
Oh,
That's a good stop.
that's convenient.
We did a lot. Yeah! I've very much enjoyed this game so far. He really has benefited from, like, super leaning into the horror aspect of things. Oh! No. Ow!
Oh, jeez.
Why have we stopped? Why have we stopped? Why have we stopped? Why did you stop? Why did you stop when that happened?
We're fine. We're winning.
Got scary face paint on?
The shit to throw at you goes a lot faster in this one.
Ow. But I shot you!
Hey, just super bothered about being shot.
Well, he's dead now.
Yeah.
And I did see that toolbox. And a fuse?
Hey,
No, just
this should get that gift shop open.
It's not that bad, we do need that.
Yeah, that's what lots of
Treasure.
Okay. Okay. So, would you like to eat some pills?
A nice tall glass of painkillers.
Delicious. Come my favorite.
It's all of a favorite flavor.
Skills.
What skills are good? I don't like skills. Two headshots, skills now stun them. I don't know why the gun won't come after.
Excuse? Oh god, there's a fast boy over there. And now he's behind me. Look! Why did we swap back to that one? Oh my god, Saga. We have to talk about what he's doing here, babes.
Okay.
This is not working for me.
He's a little wibbly.
Just a little. Did anyone drop anything? Probably not. Yeah. Great.
Gaming's a little bit off when the close.
Yeah. Kinda rude.
Kinda rude.
Where did I use that originally? So I wonder if I have to like get that and bring that here.
That one miles away, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now where is
That's
that safe?
in the fuse box outside the witch's hut.
Yeah.
That seems a bit far to expect you back.
Does, but also wouldn't be surprised.
Go for it.
We'll see.
That would explain why it still shows up on the used items thing.
Right. Hey Ilmo, heads up. Got another angry voicemail from a parent about her kid poking himself in the eye with one of the souvenir Pukos. Whose grand idea was it to sell kids plastic knives in a coffee-themed amusement park anyway? Oh right, it was yours. Jeff, I need another moose favor. Mocha was doing just fine. He even got a glowing vet report. And then BAM! They say it was a heart attack!
Fucking moose too much.
I'm not blaming you. Maybe you just had a bad ticker. No tolerance for stimulants either. We're telling kids that Mocha's taking a little vacation, but I could really use your help ASAP to maintain continuity. You have any more in stock? Thanks in advance, Ilmo. I killed the fucking moose by giving it coffee.
Give the moose too much coffee and its head exploded.
Okay. What would Ilmo use for a code?
Why did you change the damn password to the safe again? I thought it was lookout fixer supplier. Who hurt you? Why are you so paranoid? Who hurt you? Calm down, this one's easy. Tracker lookout cleaner. See, not rocket science. Tracker lookout cleaner. Huh.
Coffee World staff. Hope they're not all monsters now.
Remember to bring your liability forms for Tuesdays. Bring your dog to Coffee World Day.
The photos have stickers on them.
Yeah, but let me read things. Percolator is unfortunately undergoing maintenance, but don't worry, we'll fix it as soon as possible. Susan's lost and found. Steward is maintenance. Thomas is ride operator. Jonas is security. Nina's gift shop. Victor's janitor.
That's cleaner.
Lucy's caregiver. Robin is park walk around. Security is probably not tracker.
Tracker be pack walk around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot what they were also.
Yeah.
I remember there were a cleaner involved, and that's like it.
Let's let it do its thing for a minute there.
Coffee World. The most caffeinated place on Earth. And yet nobody's here to help me get that key.
Give me that key!
Give me that key!
Well, we already got inside the gift shop. Is the thing. Here's the thing. We we've done that. So we'll just quickly.
We do get this puzzle as well. The
Using
buttons on the
screwdrivers to
keypad,
break into
right?
gift
The,
shops
the,
isn't
the step is the
exactly
buttons on the
standard
keypad.
procedure.
Yeah. Absolutely. But I figured since we're here. And I was kind of hoping that it would like tell me which one it was. Tracker lookout cleaner.
Tracker lookout cleaner. So lookout would be security, right?
Yeah. One of them. Tracker.
That'd be 8.
Lookout.
4, 6.
No. Tracker lookout.
Maybe security's not. Oh,
I don't know. Maybe it's not tracker.
Yeah.
Lost and found?
Maybe. What were the old ones?
Lookout picture supplier?
Okay.
The keys to my trailer.
Whoa, camera!
Now to find the clicker and the cult.
Except for the minor gravitational anomaly that came out of this.
Very normal, very fine. I wouldn't worry about it. Okay. No keys in here. It's not for sale. All these stupid cardboard animals everywhere. Very silly.
Horrible music.
It's bad here. I love it. It's scuffed in like just the right way for me to just adore it. They have moose in a shirt and pants, and they have a moose with pants in both ways. If a moose wore pants, which way would it wear them?
Moose with pants and pants.
Pants on front and back legs, or pants on just back legs?
Pants and pants? Don't be pants and pants.
Stupid, I love it. I want to go to here. Somebody take me to Coffee World. There's another container in there. No? That's in the break shop.
How long has this game been out? I'm not sure Coffee World's open anymore.
Oh.
I think I had more than like a week in it.
Oh. I want to go to there. No. Stuff that we can put away. So, you know. That's it. That's all I had to put away. Save. Saga, please.
Oh no, we're trapped. Okay,
Get
just
out of there.
go over the top.
Step over it. It's fine. Locked door. Oh right, that's the staff area. What am I gonna do then? Point of interest there. That's just the well, though, right?
Also,
I guess so. It's.
are we trying to get to a trailer? I can't remember what that was.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be to the south, right?
Yeah.
In the trailer park.
Yeah. Going north. I think there's water between us and the area that was inaccessible before, right? Yeah. Wait, nope. Hey, do you want to load map? Okay. Could maybe get there from here, but we would have to leave Coffee World.
We would have to leave Coffee World. We are at some point gonna have to leave Coffee World. That's the way it is.
But I love Coffee World.
Oh, dear.
Not hurt.
Yeah. Mulling around. Just browsing.
He also loves Coffee World.
Eating coffee and worked on the moose.
It did work on the moose, and if it worked on the moose, it'd work on anyone.
Yeah, moose big.
Fuck off! Okay, you know what? No. Fucking wolf season. Excuse me, I just shot you in the face.
Huh. Strong one.
Motherfucker.
You made your point.
Shit. Ooh. That the top one. That poor percolator.
Coffee Wordle.
Not the coffee wordle.
Coffee Wordle.
Oh, look at this one by Mike. His
Thanks,
moose.
Mike.
Good job, Mike.
Drinking a tiny cuppa. That was the one that tipped him over the edge.
Purple. We need to eat some drugs.
Yeah, it's fine.
You know what?
We have enough in the check as well as today.
I think this is fine. I'm cool with this.
Yeah.
More pills. Can't believe there's parts of Coffee World we hadn't explored.
Oh, and a Coffee World might go with the Dear Diner t-shirt, sweater, sorry.
Yes, please. I mean, I'd also take an Oh Dear Diner t-shirt. That would also be fine. The sweater is very good. Do love the sweater. I need to continue this way.
What kind of exercise does coffee do? French presses.
Did kind of get turned around during the wolfcident.
Yeah.
Alright, I know where we are. Where? Where though? Where though? But where? Those rocks mean Casey,
oh,
Case.
Great, yeah.
Another one of those lunch boxes.
Where?
At least she tells you when you're right on them.
Right? You can do anything you put your mind to, hero, so long as what you put your mind to is part of the story. Cool. Give me those 9 fragments.
That's a lot of fragments.
That's a lot of fragments. I'm gonna hide in here. Kind of. We're gonna visit our mind palette. And I appreciate that I can, like, click on everything from anywhere in the room. That's nice.
Should check the crossbow thing, just because we haven't seen them and some of them might be good. Sorry.
Bolts lodged into enemies will attract bullets fired near them.
It's weird and cool.
Fires 2 bolts before needing to be reloaded. That's delightful. Hold the fire button to draw the crossbow further for increased damage.
All of those do sound really cool, actually.
Yeah, I don't hate this. Coffee bowl. Oh. First, I think I will. Oh wait.
Yeah, that one doesn't sound that good.
Yeah, never mind. I don't want that. That does sound fun.
That does sound good.
The report of the shotgun rang in the air.
Any of this?
The enemy fell.
Yeah.
Promise
Saga felt a surge of new energy, She'd been dead tired before, but was ready for more now.
Yeah.
She would get through
I wasn't
this.
gonna say anything.
She continued
I'll
on.
say it.
So I might pick those up, this neck explosion.
Sometimes, not usually. Reload speed will probably be the next one that we do.
Yeah, out of action. We don't have a way to... We'd have to swap hot swap between different weapons to do.
And I'm not good at that. It's fast enough, fortunately, but I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
And then we will probably do like all of these just
Yeah,
because...
literally all of those. Great.
Yeah, and it'll make it fun, which is really the important part.
Yeah.
Unless it's some quick profiling since we're here.
I need to open the safe.
Oh, we've done this.
What's the combination?
People love the puzzles, Zulma. Why not just use keys? People
You already
love
did
the
the puzzle,
puzzles,
so it's
Yaku.
fine.
Only very smart people can think up good puzzles. Just look around and you will find the answer. Dedicated staff will be rewarded.
The combination to the safe is somewhere in the gift shop.
Yeah, hey. You didn't know that because you're, you know, smart or even, like, got magic or anything? We did that. We've done that? It's happened.
You're just remembering that.
Yeah. We've just done that? It's a thing that has occurred? Oh, okay. I just zoomed in on the floor again for some reason.
Is it because when you get, like, a long one, it just stays wherever you were on the wall?
Probably.
Yeah.
Coffee World. Oh. These are usually pretty quick. I just need to do them. Here's the thing.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. We missed some? Or is she just ordering them in a strange way?
Gotcha. We got 3 in the last place. That seems like a reasonable number.
Mm-hmm.
You don't leave a gap in the $3 that we got for those.
One for a second. They're all found watery. Haven't really been able to explore Bright Falls too much as a whole.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's going to open up some more in a bit.
Nah.
Oh, the clicker's done. Dagger.
Oh, thank you. Guess it helps to look at everything. Will I do that? Absolutely not. It's involved. Mulligan and Thornton? I mean, probably. They weren't surprised when everyone exploded in the morgue. Also, they were around during the first game. So...
Yeah.
You know... Wait, where are we? Please, you have to load fast. Right? Just need to be able to see what's going on. Trailer park is there.
Yeah. There's also the road back into Bloodscan.
Yeah. I can't cross there, but I would like to look.
There might be treasure there.
Yeah, I want to
There
look
is like a little brown
this.
smudge on the map.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but might be something.
We'll want to circle back over here at some point.
Yeah.
And then we can probably go from here as well. Okay. Everywhere. Listen, we're here to explore, see the sights, check everything out. There's the... Oh, did they fix it? Has it been fixed?
Hopefully.
Oh, quick! You gonna comment on the fact that it's fixed now? Absolutely not. Okay. But it's fixed now. Yeah! Yeah! I think the brown smudge is that this is blocked.
That's a bad smudge.
Bad smudge! Please. Do it. I'm just gonna run.
I'll do what?
Just gonna run. Gotta look for all the things. Gotta find all the stuff. See the sights. Pretty game. And it's kind of just fun to wander around. I've really been enjoying that. Lots to look at. Many things to collect. We have a new break room and a new...
Another Alex Casey lunchbox?
We have our shoebox. I don't really want to like put anything away, I don't think. I guess we can put some of the layers away. Got plenty, really. Yeah. I'm happy with that. And then we'll think about the crossbow once we get some more upgrades for that. We got another piece. But then, almost at the same time, but not quite, another hand grabbed my other wrist. It was my childhood friend's estranged twin brother, a rugged ex-soldier who helped me fight back the zombie horde with his chiseled jaw and smoldering eyes and worn leather jacket. My heart fluttered like a small bird against its cage. Ignore him, babe. You know I'm who you want. Sensitive friend I had cared for all my life, or the intense warrior I had known for one harrowing day. How was I ever going to choose? The zombies were easier than this. We got nine scraps from that. How's she gonna choose?
How's she gonna choose?
In
We're getting
one
lots of
fluid
fragments
motion,
at this point.
Saga cracked open the shotgun, sending the empty hulls flying over her shoulder, and slammed the new shells in faster than she had imagined possible.
Don't slam them in there, please.
Really just... Saga reloaded the shotgun really fast, and she was like, whoa, I'm faster reloading this dang shotgun. And everyone was like, whoa, check out that lady who just reloaded that shotgun so fast.
Saga, if you could do this faster, I didn't think this was going to be a whole process. You know what? They're not hurting anyone. Please. Oh, nope. They're going to hurt me now.
Might be fine.
Yeah, Forrest. So hard to tell when it's actually done anything. And it takes so much. How? That's a nice motorcycle. I am stuck.
Did get quite a lot of health back from that. Now you full?
Yeah. The first aid kits are full health.
No, the shotgun killing the enemies.
Oh! Yeah, we're here for that.
You got a few times by the throw and stuff.
Yeah.
But it healed you right back up.
Rhymes.
All right. What do we have? An old watcher of the sea, before his demise, cursed the waters that ruined his eyes. So he played a trick on the ocean deep, the waves to fight, and havoc to wreak. Wreck. What?
Reek? Didn't say reek?
Okay. me suddenly forgetting how to speak.
Speak also rhymes with that.
It's true. And in doing that wrong, lost his soul's song. Okay, do we have a little guy around here?
Oh, there is a little guy, I think. On the fence.
Yeah. Little guy? There's a little guy? There's a little guy.
Need the key.
Trickster doll? And a wise elder man. Do we put man on waves? Or is it eyeball?
Old watch faces. Probably wave.
He ruined his eyes.
Oh yeah. So why is that ruined his eyes? It's either one.
Yeah. Not the trickster doll. Birds sing songs.
I don't know what the other subject this is. Huh.
Yeah. Hold on. And we... look at funny case for the nursery rhyme. Probably not gonna help us.
You get $3.
Well, that looks like an old man with a beard. Tiny as it is.
On what? On near what?
Yeah. First the waters that ruined his eyes. So, old man?
Oh man, I don't believe you that this is incorrect.
Old man, what do you want? Old man, I'm confused and a little lost. So unless...
Did he trick Tootsie?
Played a trick.
Maybe the eyes of the man and the trickster's the sea?
Maybe.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Weird. That's weird? What's happening?
I'm sure it's because of the cliffs you see.
This makes everything sound strange.
Yeah. Oh, okay, it could be that guy too. Jeez.
They are kind of making me go through my ammo, which is not great. Again, Saga hasn't really been given a whole bunch in regards to that.
Yeah.
Ammo has been okay, but apparently not enough.
I assume that don't go. Oh, you on this stuff?
No, this is our break room. The door was locked and needed a key. So I'm wondering if it...
Yeah, you should give him the key.
Don't the key something.
Oh, heck, we'll have to do that next time.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to go.
We have
15
minutes. We got like 5 minutes before we actually have to stop.
Okay.
It's just the heads up that time to start wrapping it up. Which we can do.
And that wraps up my list of favorite park benches in Bright Falls. And now, I just want to clear something up from our last broadcast. There was some talk, an off-color joke of sorts about Wendy Davis of Davis Family Beef Jerky being dead, which of course is a bunch of hogwash. So I'm gonna give our dear friend Wendy a call so we can put an end to these silly rumors. And, oh, it looks like we already have her on the phone line. Wendy, hello. Hi there, Pat. That's not Wendy. No, this is Jim Figamore. Remember, we were going to do the announcement today. Oh, is that today? Listeners, we have Jim Figamore with us and the director of the Bright Falls Community Theater, and I'm here to announce that the theater will be losing one of its most dignified thespians as I, Jim Figamore, will be running for mayor. Hold for applause. Well, that's quite a
He's no
announcement,
whoever
Jim.
the fuck we've been looking
Just
at.
let me find my notes here. I have some questions written down for you.
The real question is what happened to this town. Bright
What
Falls
happened
used to draw in thousands of tourists.
Yeah, I'm convinced that he did actually talk to Wendy today. He's not going senile.
It could be, yeah.
It's just a matter of Alan being a stupid man and changing everything and making everyone miserable now, actually.
Alan's so fucking reality.
Another cold box.
And my man sad.
Excuse me? Still 2, so that's not particularly helpful. But that's 2 lines.
Oh.
Is that
we want the
number
same?
3?
Do we want the same chip? Oh, that could be number 3. And then square could be number 2.
Horrible.
Okay, I think these triangles are arranged slightly different.
I don't. Those just look like triangles.
I might be wrong.
Okay, well that's 3. And that's 2. So it's definitely gonna be something square triangle? Or
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess diamond? So we can do
Okay, this. So maybe the chips don't mean anything. We just want the numbers, and then what symbols under them?
But it's all this.
Are they not any different?
No?
No, you're right. Hey, check the number 2.
That's this one.
No, the number 2. Yeah, look, that's different. The stack.
Stupid, and I hate it.
The triangle with a triangle is a hat.
It's triangle for hat, and then a cult symbol.
Yeah, that one should be right.
And this is...
No, probably.
Can't go through too fast, because if you do, it won't unlock. That one was rude, and I didn't like it. Getting the Anderson brothers on board would be a big win for us, so I'm offering a $100 Superstore gift card plus a year's worth of free coffee at Oh Dear Diner to whoever gets those 2 to join. Let's get recruiting. Let's go back to the safe house. And then we can save. But I shot.
Good wolf.
Keep running.
We've reached an impasse. We've decided to go our separate ways.
Great. We'll hopefully remember to go back to the lighthouse.
Yeah.
Try and find what we missed.
What we unlocked.
No. Oh. We happen been here.
Mercetter is not afraid of the rough questions.
Good for him. A big old save.
This game's still like wildly good.
Yeah, and we're almost 9 hours in.
Dang,
Oh
we're getting
boy.
through it.
Yeah, we are. But yeah, that's
It's
gonna
been
be
a
all.
joy.
It's not often that a game this big will keep me this interested for this long. So good job, Alan.
Good job, Alan. Good job, Sam Ocean.
Is it gonna? Are you gonna? Yeah, you are. Okay. We are just gonna move over to Discord, so we're not gonna do a raid or anything today, because we have 9 minutes until Ascension.
We're gonna go see them. So it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be an experience.
It's gonna be great. We both think it's gonna be the best one.
I did not go on record and say this. Do not listen to the lies.
Hey, it's me, Kayshurrr. It's gonna be the best one.
It's not gonna. But it is gonna be a good time. So we will, if anyone is there and wants to go meet us there, you can go meet us there. We'll see you there. But for now, bye, friends.
Bye.